What is belief? Belief is defined as an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. Or it can be trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. But let's dive a bit deeper. Because let's say that you believe that apples are red, but then you go out into the world and someone puts a gun to your head and says, I want you to believe that apples are blue, otherwise I'm going to shoot you. Would you change your mind just to stay alive? In that sense, and if you were to say, I believe apples are blue, do you actually believe they're blue? Because you could just be lying to someone and saying that so that you could stay alive and get out of that situation. And you tell them, I believe that they are blue, but you're lying to them. In reality, you know apples are red and green and yellow and the other natural colors, but you know they're at least not blue. But let's get into something very strange, which is, why do we believe? Why do we have to believe in things? Why can't we just go about our life not believing anything and just walking around sort of mindlessly, not judging anything as right or wrong? Let's get to that right and wrong. Whenever we judge things, we put them into two categories with three sections, right? You have true, false, morally correct or morally incorrect, good and evil, and then better or worse. Normally, whenever someone brings an objection to your belief, you say that's wrong or that's false. You never really say something's okay. You never really say things are not important to you. For example, if you go down the street and you see someone get murdered or you see something evil happen, you instantly identify that thing as evil. You never really say, well, that's okay. Even moral relativists who believe that there is no truth or evil would look at that thing and say, personally, I believe that's evil. Because naturally, that's just how we work. We like to define these two things as right or wrong, good or bad, truth and false. So let's look at belief more closely. We believe things for two reasons. We either believe them sort of blindly because, highly intelligent people who are very developed in their skills and, you have a large amount of scientists agree on this one thing, so we just kind of blindly believe that thing because we know, oh, well, all these, very good scientists who are very good at their job and went to college and have their degree and are very good at what they do, they all agree to this one thing, and so we're going to kind of blindly agree to that. Because if we were able to back up every single one of our beliefs with evidence, if we were to know exactly why we believe everything, we probably wouldn't have enough brain space to help keep all of that knowledge. We'd probably forget all of it. So there are some things that we do kind of believe sort of blindly. Like most people believe, unless you're a flat earth believer, most people believe that the earth revolves around the sun. But if you were to ask them why, they really wouldn't have a good answer. They wouldn't really be able to tell you why they believe that. They would just say, oh, well, these famous scientists, if they can even name any of them, all agreed to it. So I kind of agree. But then you have things that people believe because they have the evidence. They can explain to you why they believe something. And this is very important because often the things that you can prove with evidence, not prove, but the things that you have evidence for to support that it is reliable and that it is true, you wouldn't really go back on those things to get out of a situation unless you really did believe in those things. So let's take the example I used earlier. You go up to someone and you say, I believe apples are red. And they say, no, apples are all blue. And you lie to them saying that they are blue. Well, how much do you really believe that apples are red if you're willing to just lie to someone to get out of the situation? In that case, what even is belief? Is belief just something you keep to yourself but you lie to the world? What are the consequences of lying to the world? Why do we lie? Most often, the reason that we lie is to get out of a situation that we don't want to be in, that we believe is going to lead in a bad path. But the issue is that lying never really helps people. There's two ways that lying negatively affects your life. The first way is in reality, and the second way is morally. And in reality isn't saying that morally isn't reality, but what I mean by reality is in the real world, consequences that happen very quickly. For example, if you lie and people find out that you lie, your reputation is going to be damaged, and if you're a child, you're going to be put in timeout or punished for lying. And also, morally, if you lie, you're going to be held responsible because you've sinned. So if we can develop a very good definition of lying, then we can truly understand its nature. And what I believe lying is knowing that something is true, knowing that there is a fact, but then because of a certain circumstance, because if you keep saying that you believe that, or if you keep believing that something is going to go wrong, you lie by still holding that belief, but by telling or expressing to people that you believe something else, which most of the time is for a selfish reason. And so let's connect this with faith in God. Let's look at the 11 disciples that were all persecuted, that were all harmed physically for their belief in God. Except for John, he was put on exile on an island, but he was still put into a burning bowl of oil. They all believed that God was real and that he was Jesus Christ. They all believed that Jesus had rose from the dead. And they were all persecuted. They were all hurt for their belief in him. And they did not lie. So to me, that is real belief. To me, true belief is saying, I believe this thing, and no matter how bad a circumstance gets, I am never going to say otherwise or tell people otherwise.